What's going on, people? What's happening? Thursday, the 12th of March. We're doing our Throwback Thursday. It's a little late. It's about 10:40 on the West Coast, but we're going to get that Throwback Thursday in. Uh, got a little earth, wind, and fire in the background making things happen. Keep that mood where it's supposed to be. But one thing we really want to start off with before we start into what our topic is, which is definitely an old school saying I always used to hear this whole bunch of times. It says, a hard head will make a soft behind. But anyway, just like to send out the most dominant thing in the news today is that coronavirus. And so just want to make sure people are staying healthy. People are staying, just aware of what their surroundings are. Definitely doing things to increase your immune system so that you're able to fight it off if it does enter into your cipher. But definitely want to hope that you are staying vigilant in your effort to stay healthy. But we also got to stay consciously healthy. And I'm going to say that for another day. I just want you to marinate on that a little bit and make it happen. But I definitely want to talk about the Throwback Thursday topic today. A hard head makes a soft butt or behind, whatever you want to do. Or, the other word, but I'm going to try to be respectful in how I deliver this. Definitely going through these allergies. Spring season brings those allergies, and so I'm a little stuffed up. And we're going to still try to get through it, hopefully with same amount of energy as every day, every Thursday, every other day. I'm trying to bring that energy still. So what does that mean really when it says, most of us heard it, but what it refers to is the fact that a person that does not listen to reason is going to have a tough life. So that's basically what we're talking about, a person who does not listen to reason. And all of us have had those situations where even people have consulted some of you and said, could you talk to my child because they're not listening? And you say the same exact thing that the parent says and the child finally gets it. It's just a mere fact that sometimes people receive things differently. So, but it's often that persons insist on making their own mistakes rather than listening to the sage advice of others, and to say that, let me just go through it. But some things that people are talking about with people, when they go through it, they don't know how to get out of it. You understand? So it's not the fact, and I'm trying to refer back, I always try to refer back to my life and to understand that I remember one time growing up that, people from who were, my parents' generation thought that the people in the 70s were a little bit radical, thought that in our teenage years we didn't understand the journey. And it was just sort of saying that let them pave their own way, let them do what they need to do. But I think people sort of understood that the message was not about control. It was about guidance. And there's a difference. Most people think you're trying to control me. Well, I'd rather give you guidance than control you, because in reality, you're controlled based on your choices and decisions. So I want to talk about something because some of you may know that, at one time I was a teacher, and just want to, toot my own horn for a quick moment. But I was an amazing teacher, did some amazing things, had some amazing outcomes from my teaching experience at all levels. Actually gave children an opportunity to appreciate some subjects that they really didn't. So I want to talk about when I was at a private school that I taught medieval history and ancient history. But I want to talk about medieval history because one of the things that why I'm prefacing this today is that I had a conversation at a school the other day, and I just want to talk about the culture and the climate of schools today. But one of the things that I really want to talk about is, if any of you know about, there was a children's crusade. In medieval times, we talk about the different crusades, but there was a children's crusade by Stephen Coyle in 1212 that sort of was the children who were a little frustrated with the actions of their parents in basically what it literally comes down to is the fact that they want to remove Muslims from the Holy Land at that particular time. So these children who were sort of led by Stephen Coyle in 1212 set out to do the crusade themselves, and they were going to go to the Holy Land and remove these individuals. But one of the things that they didn't realize was the process. So in 1212, when they arrived in Paris, they were hungry, exhausted, thirsty. They hadn't understood it. They haven't prepared for it. And so what happened was, when they got there, most of the people were trying to give them the understanding of what this really looked like. And so as you look at historical remnants or historical information about this, some of the people said they don't even really know if this crusade really happened. And that they also said, were most of the warriors really children? Because somebody said, how could families let children go? How could families let their children go on this particular crusade without going with them? So it was all about if this really happened. But one of the things that they said is that the conflicting information was also about, there have been two main groups in this crusades. One was Stephen of Coyle of France, and the other one was Nicholas of Cologne. And they both had a passion of 1,000 people who were going to be with them in this crusades. Now, fast forward real quick. In 1977, a gentleman named Peter Renditz said that he believed that most of the people were made up of poor, marginalized people who were in this crusade, and that it really wasn't a children's movement. It was really more of a movement of the poor people who were really tired of the treatment that they were receiving. But when I go to all that, what I really talk about, and why am I saying all this? Because people are saying, what are you talking about? You're really not talking about how a hard head makes a soft butt. Well, in reality, if you be patient, that's what I'm talking about. Be patient, you'll really get the understanding of what it says. And so how does that relate to today? So one of my greatest quotes and things that I actually put on is that one of my quotes, if you go back to my stuff, it's listed all over all of my stuff. But it says that the devastation of an empire begins in the heart of the young, the astuteness of the adults, in the eyes of the old, but essentially in the language of its citizens. And let me say that one more time. The devastation of an empire begins in the heart of the young, in the astuteness of the adults, in the eyes of the old, but essentially in the language of its citizens. And so, if you remember what I just referred to a few minutes ago, that I was in a school and I wanted to talk about that. So let's talk about a few little things that really is the caveat of what I'm talking about. Essentially, in the language of its citizens. So if you go to schools, that's what I was at the school the other day, and what I was really shocked about, and I only been removed from being physically in the school building for about 10 years, and the language in the school is so over the top. And I don't know how educators today, and I'm talking to you educators who may listen, I don't know how you accept it. I don't know how you don't go to the authorities in your school who are supposed to be the administrators and to the people who are running the school districts and allow the profanity that I heard in middle school at such a high rate as normal. This is what we're talking about. This is what I'm bringing it full circle. It's really about this children crusade, about individuals who don't have the foundation for what they believe they are going to accomplish, right? What they believe they're going to accomplish, and then those who are supposed to give them guidance allow the misbelief or the understanding that this is really not what's going to get you what you really want to be normal. So that's what I'm talking about. The language in the schools, the language in society, the language that individuals use just in the midst of elders. It's in the midst of elders. And so we have to understand that this is what I'm talking about. It's also about who our children are influenced by, with the social media being the some of the teaching of our children right now. There's so many things that are allowed to be on social media that we have to counterattack counterattack. We have to counterattack the message that we allow our children to receive and what we will receive within our own circle of influence for our children. And like I'm saying, that the things that our children profess to be, we have to put them in front of those individuals. But we also have to let them know that the individuals who we are putting them in front of use a different type of dialect or dialogue that will get them to accomplish what they actually perceive and would like to accomplish. And so when I talk about a hard head makes a soft butt, if we continue to allow the language of our children to be the foundation of their moving forward, they are going to be exactly what I said in the beginning, that a person who doesn't listen to reason will have a tough life. I'm talking from experience. I'm not going to mention any names, but the person who I will be talking about will know exactly what I am saying. There was a situation in which I was very involved in that over the years, we expressed to the individual that if you continue this behavior, there's going to be an outcome that you may not see today, but it's a definite outcome that will occur. And so that outcome has occurred. And every time I speak to the individual, they always tell me, yeah, I'm going to do better this time. I'm going to do better this time. I'm not going to allow that to occur. And then a few months, 6 months, 5 months later, all of a sudden this situation reoccurs because you still believe that what your way is the only way, and your way is not in line with what society is actually trying to instill in those who achieve success. And so when we talk about that, we have to also say that there is a certain thing that is expected. And when I go back to what my quote is that the devastation of an empire, and if we're trying to develop an empire, even your own empire, your own blueprint for your excellence, you have to understand that it begins in the heart of the young. So if you're a person who has children, you have to really understand what is in the heart of your children. What have you put in the heart of your children, right? It also has to believe that you as the adult, it's about the astuteness of what you actually deliver as an adult. It has to also look at those who have given you life. How do they see what you're doing in your journey? And if those who are in that situation are just watching from the sideline, don't ask them what they see. Look in their eyes. Their souls will tell you exactly what they see and what they believe that is going on in the outcome of the generation coming before them. And then it's essentially in the language of our citizens. How do your children talk to you? How do your children talk to those who may be associated with them? How does your children talk to other adults? How do your children talk to authority figures? And I'm not saying that, they have to talk a certain way to authority figures, but if you talk to a certain person, you have to realize that it's never about the sender, it's about the receiver and where that person is in their particular phase of life, that how they receive it and who you're talking to. So when we talk about the things that are going on with our children, we have to look at the message that's coming out of their mouths. But the eventually thing is essentially in the language of our citizens. How are your children talking to you? How do you talk to your parents? Is this a pattern, or is this something that has been broken based on the way society has given them the opportunity now to feel that they have the right as an adult? Because like when I told you I was at the school the other day, the young man said to me that, yeah, I'm a man, and if I didn't like if I don't like what you said, I might try you. And I told him he might be better off trying suicide than to try me. Because the fact of the matter is that what I do is just respect the fact that if I had challenged any adult in my day, I would still be on the Easter egg hunt for my teeth. And children today believe that challenging mentality is funny, because the law states to them that if you engage in an altercation with an adult, that that you, the adult, should have known better. But if that was the case, then when they move to the juvenile or court system, then why, if the judge believes that you are wrong, why does the judge then place them into a system for which, if they don't understand how to get off of that hamster wheel, they will continually be in that system for the remainder of their life? So I just want to say, this is what I'm talking about, that crusade of 1212 by Stephen Coyle. It's the fact of the matter that sometimes children today have put the cart before the horse. And they believe that because they have been given the right to be able to express themselves, that everything that comes out their mouth is of value. Sometimes the stuff that comes out your mouth is the waste of the remnants of what has gone into your system. Please understand, I'm not definitely dogging. I want children to be more vocal. I want children to be more expressive in how they do things. But I want people and parents, and I want grandparents, and I want those who service children to make them understand that everything that comes out your mouth will not be received in the way that you think it should be received, because you never know what the receiver is receiving from that message. So as we move forward, I want you to understand what I'm saying is that if we're going to develop an empire, and you're going to develop an empire, a family empire, it's really simple. The devastation of your family empire begins in the heart of your children, in the astuteness of you, in the eyes of your parents, but essentially in the language of all of you. So remember that this is the journey for which we take. And this is the way that we will continue to build. And this thing that is really destroying the whole world right now, this is the time. This is the time that we take now to change the narrative for how we move forward. Everything happens for a reason. This coronavirus didn't just come up because it was something that needed to come up. Sometimes we don't recognize the signs. Sometimes we need to be stopped so that we can understand what we need to do to start rebuilding and start doing things that are proper in our life. But understand what your man Rory T. Edwards just dropped on you, that the devastation of an empire begins in the heart of the young, the astuteness of the adults, in the eyes of the old, but essentially in the language of its citizens. I appreciate you for watching me. I definitely, I'm going to drop something in the next few days about your health and your wellness as we move forward to try to address this coronavirus. I'm not saying that I'm a doctor, but I have the degrees to be it. All right? So anyway, I'm going to drop it to you on the health and the wellness side of it, not on the medical side of it. It's just about your wellness. It's about what you put in your body, what you put in your mind, what you put in your spirit that will change the direction of how you do things in your life. Hey, send me an email, RoryTEdwards1@gmail.com. Get on my Facebook page. You follow me right now. Send something to my website, RoryTEdwards.com. But definitely reach out. Let's connect. Let's make things happen. I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're being well. And I hope that this message has value to you. And if it does, please share it with some of your friends. I'm going to go ahead and take me a little medication just to get this sinus and these allergies off my back. But I really want you to understand, again, I'm going to go out with this one more time. The devastation of your empire begins in the heart of your children, the young, in the astuteness of the adults, which is you. Be an adult. Stop trying to be your children's friend. Be an adult. And in the eyes of the old, but essentially in the language of its citizens. I'm just reading what my man Kamar Graves sent me. What's going on, Kamar? I'm going to tell you something, people who listening. That is one of the most intelligent young men who I've ever met in my life. He said, don't make me violate you in the classroom. Kamar, you know how I would have got down in Amistad. But I'm so glad that you took the time to listen, and I hope this brings value to you. But definitely reach out to me and let me know what's going on. This is your man Rory T. Edwards gone. All right, you all be well. Stay healthy. I'll see you in a few days with my health and wellness event on how you take care of your body, your mind, and your spirit to protect you against anything that is going to violate the sanctity and the sanctuary of your body. Not even the coronavirus can affect your sanctuary if you do the right thing. All right? You all be well. Man, it's what time? It's 11 o'clock, so that's 2 o'clock on the East Coast, 1 o'clock on Central Time, but it's 11 o'clock on the West Coast. Be well. All right? Be well. Be well. Be well.